5 signs you're a visual learner. 1. You're good at remembering faces, not names. Visual learners learn through images, so when you meet someone you can always recognize them again, but remembering their names, another story. 2. You prefer to see directions, not hear them. So if you're lost, you'd rather look at Google Maps or Waze, not hear Siri spew out a bunch of different directions. 3. Your mind wanders during lectures. Do you find yourself zoning out during a class lecture or a long speech? That's a good sign you're a visual learner because you don't have engaging visual stimuli. 4. You're detail-oriented. Visual learners always notice the little things. 5. You're talented at the arts. Visual learners tend to be very talented at stuff like painting, music, drama, anything that they can visualize in their heads and then create. File for more tips.
This is probably the biggest revenge story ever. The woman on the right is Noella Rukundo, and in 2015 she went to attend the funeral of her stepmother who had just passed away. But just as she went to go get some fresh air, something scary happened. A group of men came out of nowhere and kidnapped her. They took her into their car and blindfolded her. But while they were driving, one of the men asked her, "Woman, what did you do for your husband to want to kill you?" Upon hearing that, she was shocked. She asked what they meant, to which they replied, "We are hitmen and your husband wanted us to kill you." Now shaking uncontrollably, Noella barely believed them. But then her husband had called the hitmen, and he had asked if they killed her. But then something amazing had happened. After Noella fainted and woke back up the next day, she was surprised to find that she was still alive. Not only was she set free, she was also given all the evidence to arrest her husband. These hitmen didn't believe in killing women, so they set her free and pretended that she was dead. Meanwhile, her husband told everyone that she had died in a tragic accident. And one day at her funeral, while everyone was mourning, Noelle physically came there and surprised her husband. He asked if he was dreaming and she said no. She then used all the evidence to arrest her husband. Revenge served. This is one of the biggest plot twists to ever occur in real life. Nicholas Barclay vanished from a basketball game near his house in 1994. For 3 whole years, they searched and searched but could never find him. But then one day, he showed up after 3 years. Everybody in the family was extremely excited to see him, and they had a huge family reunion. But something was off about Nicholas. It was so off that everyone began to take notice after time. And here's what it was. When Nicholas had disappeared, he had blonde hair and bright blue eyes. But when he finally showed up 3 years later, both his blonde hair and blue eyes were gone and were instead replaced by brown eyes and brown hair. And the weirdest part was he had a French accent. I mean, it was totally possible that he had went to France for 3 years and came back. But something was just really off about Nicholas. When finally asked about it, he said that his hair had been dyed and chemicals had caused his eyes to turn brown. He also stated that he lived in Europe, which changed his accent. And obviously the family believed him and let him stay in the house for 6 months. But then one day the FBI took samples of his hair and blood, and what they found shocked the entire family. Follow for part 2.
This is actually an excellent point. So if your nails are also long, or you just think sugaring is too messy, this is how you can use it without ever touching it. Now, of course, you could always use it with strips like I did on my knuckles, but you can also use the flicking method with another object. So here, I'm using a spatula specifically for waxing, but feel free to use like an old rewards card or credit or debit card. And again, remember to always hold your skin tight before you pull. The thing that makes sugar wax so effective is that it is sticky, so it sticks to itself. But in addition to removing your unwanted hair, it also removes dead skin cells. And it doesn't dry, so you can continue to use the same ball on your body until it's so full of hair that it just basically stops working. So with this, I can do my entire leg.
Here are some facts you didn't know about Arsenal.
Before being called Arsenal, they were Woolwich Arsenal, and before that they went by Dial Square. The Arsenal clock stood at their old stadium in Highbury for 70 years. It now sits on the outside of the Emirates. In 1886, Nottingham Forest donated football kits to Arsenal. They still wear these same colours to this day.
Weird medical facts. Dirty hair can improve air quality. That's because the oil from your scalp absorbs air pollutants. You have way more than 5 senses. In addition to sight, smell, sound, touch, and taste, you have proprioception, your sense of space, thermoception, sense of temperature, nociception, sense of pain, temporal perception, sense of time, and equilibrioception, sense of balance.
This is a simple productivity trick to get exactly what you want. This one is called a micronap, and it was used by everyone from Aristotle to Einstein and even Salvador Dali. Now, science shows that you're at your most productive hour or most productive moment in that moment in time between the state of being awake and the state of falling asleep. Here's how you get there. Be tired, this shouldn't be an issue for you. Then take a plate, place it upside down on the ground, and have a set of keys in your hands as you're about to fall asleep. As follows, and then once you drop the keys, you will wake up and be super productive. But you have to make sure to get up and start working, because if you sleep for more than 20 minutes, say bye to productivity.
5 reasons I walk every single day. Number 1, a positive mindset. Getting outside clears your head, gets rid of stress, gets you in that focused state of mind. Number 2, creativity. It's the most creative moment of being while I've been outside walking, chilled out, not thinking anything to do with work, and something pops to your mind. Number 3, mental health. Getting outside in natural light, clean air, green spaces is good for your mind. Number 4, exercise. Going for a walk is an easy way to do exercise that's low effort, easy energy, and high reward, high gain. Number 5, sleep. I sleep so much better after a good walk. Getting outside means that you sleep better at night. Give it a go, guys. Walk every day.
7 ways your dog is showing you they're happy. They're wagging their tail. They're doing the play bow. They're fetching you a toy to play with. They're showing a playful side with other dogs. They're doing the smiling expression. They're shrieking in a high-pitched voice. They're showing their belly.
Play you this. What do you hear? Maybe I've asked you the wrong question. What do you see? If you're one of the 4% of people that have synesthesia, you won't only just hear music, you'll see colour. Synesthesia is like a massive sensory overload. People with synesthesia don't just hear music, they see it, taste it, feel it, even smell it. Some singers have synesthesia, which probably explains why their songs make you feel a certain way, like Pharell Williams, Billie Eilish, and Kanye West.
Did you know pottery isn't actually pottery until we bring the heat? If you don't apply heat to dry pottery, it'll become mud. This is because pottery is made of clay, which is a natural material, and when heat's applied it changes the bonds of the material, making it waterproof and permanent. People heat up their pottery in a kiln, which is basically like a giant oven. These are some of the recent heart pots that I've made, and they've only air dried, so technically they're not classed as pottery. As soon as I put them in my kiln and they've gone hard and waterproof, then we can call it pottery. Weird, I know, but if you don't heat it up and your clay gets wet and turns back to mud,
I guess it really isn't pottery.
Pasta, I love the stuff, but do you know why there's so many different variants? It's really up to you what you put with your pasta, but hopefully these helpful tips will up your pasta game. If it's thin or long, it should be served with a lighter sauce and a protein like fish. And did you know spaghetti bolognese is actually traditionally incorrect? Meat or cheese-based sauces should be served with thick ribbon, tube or shell-like pasta. Spiralized pasta is designed for much smoother sauces like pesto. Although this rice-like pasta is designed for soups and salads. Guys, I hope this helped, and remember, do not throw away your pasta water, save it and put it back into your sauce.
Did you know that a NASA satellite changed the colour of the football? Telstar 1 was launched in 1962 and made it possible to beam TV signals all around the world. Its black and white frame inspired the iconic pattern of the 1970 Mexico World Cup Adidas ball, which made it easier to see on the grainy screen. Telstar paved the way for global broadcast, and, in a way, this TikTok